Hi everyone, I hope you're good. It's me, B, at Kelly Sunflower. So I'm on again today to do questions 22 through to 25. Lovely Effie's 31 Days of Tarot 2020. So question 22 is your top 5 tarot decks of 2010 to 2019. Question 23 is your top 5 oracle decks of 2010 to 2019. Question 24 is your top 5 tarot books of 2010 to 2019. And question 25 is, if you could meet a tarot author, creator, who and when? So I'm going to flip the camera around and go through these prompts. Bye. Hi everyone, so I've turned the camera around and so let's crack on. So I thought I'd use different decks for prompt 22, which is my top 5 tarot decks of 2010 2019. As you all may know, I always go on about the Afro Goddess Tarot Arcana deck by Audrey Furtick, and I usually go on about the Everyday Enchantment by Poppy Pallen, and my Veggie Snap cards by Julianne Victoria, which is sometimes known as the Children's Tarot, but I thought I'd have a change of decks. Okay, so one of my top 5 decks, tarot decks of 2010 to 2019 is this one. It's called the Sakki Tarot by Chloe Sakki and Carol Ann Buckley. So these are gorgeous cards. They come in this kind of like tuck box that you have to put together yourself. It came flat packed. She signed it for me, the creator. These are just very gorgeous cards. Look at the lovely back to them. Aren't they just gorgeous? And I'll show you a few cards. So you've got the Death card. It's the title card. 5 of Rods or 5 of Wands. You've got the 6 of Rods. The 7 of Rods. There's a lot of headless kind of characters in this deck. Show you some more. So you've got the 9 of Swords. I just like the colour of it, and it makes me happy when I use this deck for some reason. You've got the 10 of Swords there. And it came with this really gorgeous guidebook. So in the front of the guidebook, she says, art is the quality that makes the difference between merely witnessing or performing things and being touched by them, shaken by them, changed by the forces that are inherent in everything we give and receive. It's just a gorgeous book, and it just outlines, the cards. So you get a note from the artist and the unfinished book. What is tarot, the journey of the artist, the big melting pot, incorporating systems of occult and thought, numbers, elements, astrology, Kabbalah, and then again the artist, and you get the major arcana, the trump cards, the minor arcana, you get the rods, cups, swords and coins. Tells you about reading the tarots, gives you a couple of spreads, and then there's an interview with the actual author, the game, playing with symbols like lights, camera, actions. It's got a lot of information in this book. Look at that. It's just a really cool deck. Look at all the information for each card. Like for example the 2 of Cups. It gives you a prompt from the artist's journal, black and white version of the card, and it tells you what it means in a reading. So for example, in a reading, the 2 of Cups would be your soulmate. Your soulmate might be just around the corner. Open your heart to the possibilities of love and partnership. Take on the challenge of falling in love. Make sure you are independent and meet the other as an equal. Experience what a new union or friendship can create, but have a realistic expectations and avoid the danger of losing your head. See and accept the other as they are and not as you fantasize. they should be. Enjoy the sweet sips of love. Isn't that nice? It's just quite a good book. You know, I like the way that she's, you know, I like her art style. You know, it's very pictorial, which I kind of like. It's just a gorgeous guidebook. Okay, another deck is this one, and it's called Tarot Learning Cards, Self-Study Flashcards, designed by Jazzy DeForest and J. Greenman DeForest. This is more, for me, for a memory booster. So you get like a title card at the beginning. And then give you a card about the deck. You know, so it says here, the Tarot Flashcard deck includes the traditional 78 cards, the 22 major arcana, and the 56 minor arcana cards. This learning card deck was created with the beginner in mind, and it includes general aspects. So it includes general accepted interpretations of each card. How to use these cards. To start learning to read tarot with these cards, it is advisable to break the deck down into manageable parts. The popular 22 major arcana cards are a good place to start studying. Being familiar with the archetypes of the majors is usually the easiest for most people. After that, start studying the minor arcana. And it's got here, the minor arcana can be broken down by suits into 4 sections of 10 cards. Lastly, the 16 court cards can be learned. With each part of this deck, there are various pieces of information to learn. The best method is to start with memorizing the theme of each card, the keywords, numerology, or the elemental energy. The interpretations of these cards are general enough to use as study guides, along with other traditional style tarot decks that use a system of suits with the major and minor arcana. The Tarot Flashcard deck may be used to do readings for yourself or others. So I'll just show you a few cards from here. Okay. And it talks about a bit about reversals as well. Reversals are the upside down interpretation of each tarot card. It is highly recommended to study the upright meaning first and become comfortable with the uprights before memorizing the reversed interpretations. The reversed meanings often have negative and positive keywords. Sometimes they are even contradictory. When reading reversals in a spread, look to the surrounding cards to interpret the reverse card. Usually, if the surroundings cards are positive, the reverse card's more positive meaning is used. Likewise, if the cards on the other side are more negative, then the negative interpretations is used for the reverse card. Then it gives you a bit about numerology. And, you know, it says here, aces are beginnings, ideas, potential. Twos are choice, duality, cooperation. Threes are self-expression and growth. Fours are foundation and resting. Fives are change and uncertainty. 6, stability, harmony and travel. 7, waiting period, reflection. 8, regeneration and judgment. 9s, experience and accumulation. 10, results, transitions and lessons. And it's got here, note, numerology works in a cycle. Think of the numbers as a circular, not linear. The 10s are endings and transitional back into the beginnings that are represented by the aces. And then here it's got a bit about the court cards. So it's got here, the kings and queens represent mature, masculine and feminine energy. When a king or queen is drawn, keep in mind that this could be male or female person. For example, the Queen of Cups could represent a very caring, emotional and supportive male friend. Likewise, the King of Wands could indicate a woman who is highly motivated, works in a male-dominated position and doesn't see herself as a stereotypical female. The King and Queen court cards represent people most of the time. They can be someone who is currently influential in your life or someone who you have to meet. Sorry, someone who you have yet to meet. Then it's got here, the knights and pages both represent young people. They can be either male or female, although traditionally knights are young men and pages are youth of either gender. Since the court cards often represent people, the traditional astrological signs associated with them have been included on each card. One way of finding the card that is your personal court card is by picking out the suit that shows your astrological sign, and then pick from those 4 cards the one that seems most appropriate, either by description, gender, age, or your own intuitive feelings. So let me show you a card. So for example, now this is the 4 card. It's just got 0 and the 4. Then at the back of the card, it's got the upright position. So it says here, theme, beginnings, astrology, Uranus, major arcana, spiritual journey, keywords, beginning a journey, spirit, innocence, leap of faith, unity, crossroads, choice, folly, foolishness, and naivety. And then the reverse meaning here says resistance, major arcana, spiritual journey, keywords, resisting change, stuck, indecision, making mistakes, fear, carelessness, sudden change, revaluation. Let's just have a look at the few cards. So the High Priestess, for example, here, it says here, theme, intuition, astrology, moon, major arcana, spiritual journey, keywords, knowledge, wisdom, secrets, the subconscious, seeking answers, spiritual guidance, the occult, self-knowledge. And then the reverse side says theme, superficial, major arcana, spiritual journey, keywords, flirtation, shallowness, uninvolved, flattery, ignorance, rejecting truths, revealing secrets, repressed intuition. Let's have a quick look at one key card before I move on. So not key card, major arcana card, I should say. Let's look at the 2 of Wands. So it's got here, oh dear, sorry. It's got here the 2 of Wands. That looks like a matchstick there, doesn't it? Then upright, it says theme, planning, Wands, business, family, ambition. Then it's got 2s, choice, duality, and corporations. That's the numerology. Keywords, business, partnership, being influenced, making a business, decision, evaluating choices. And then the reverse of the card says theme, unexpected. Then again, Wands, business, family, ambition. Keywords, downfall, miracles, loss of control, turn of events, planning, plans falling through, unexpected results. So this is a good deck for me, just to touch up on my kind of memory of the tarot cards, and I do use it quite a lot. Okay, so the next deck is this one. This is called Silver Era Tarot by artists Una Calm and author Russell J. Moon, and this is a Schiffer publication. I've had this deck for quite a while, and I like to flip through it from time to time. So it's got here, a contemporary approach brings life to a classic subject in this stylish, functional tarot card deck. Black and white images of grace and beauty highlighted with a single colour accent on each card draws the reader into a world of charm and equality rarely seen and experienced in tarot today. An accompanying handbook describes each card and its meanings, right side up and reversal, along with basic spread, including information. The Silver Era confronts the journey made by all of us individually by displaying a singular connection to each card using one central character. Explore the splendor, energy, and magnificence of tarot from the moment this deck is opened. This deck will serve as a great addition to collectors, professionals, and novice alike. So it comes in the old-fashioned kind of Schiffer box. It comes with a sky book, which I'm going to quickly show you now before I go to some of the cards. Okay. So the guidebook, it's quite a meaty, you know, guidebook. This deck was published in 2010 by Schiffer. And then it just gives you an introduction, the major arcana, and then it's got the minor arcana, cups, pentacles, swords, wands, basic spreads, about the artist, and about the author. And then it gives you like a little quote about each card, the meaning, and the reverse meaning, and keywords. The spreads are quite basic, so you get the past, present and future spread. Tells you how to do that. The Celtic cross spread, and then it tells you about the author and the artist. These cards are just absolutely gorgeous. So these are the backs of the cards. So this one here is the King of Pentacles, and as you can see there, there's like a green bit of colour in the cards. Then you've got the Fool here, and as you can see, this, you've got yellow coming from the sun. So let's have a look at another card. And you've got the Chariot, and as you can see, there's a bit of colour in the archetype's dress. Let's have a look at another card. And finally, you've got the Star, and there's a bit of colour in the water. Okay, so this is the Silver Era Tarot. Next tarot deck is this one. It's the Ancestral Path deck and guidebook set. It was £12 when I bought it now. I think this one's out of print because it's been replaced by a larger deck. So it comes with a guidebook. These are the cards. And it comes with this kind of sheet. Let's try and open it for you. Oops, daisy. And it's got the Celtic cross spread on the sheet, and it highlights each of the positions of the cross, you know, which is quite useful to a beginner. Can't show you all of it, but that's what it comes with. So let's flip through the book. So the Ancestral Tarot Path, and this is by Tracy Hoover. It's got here Path to Wisdom using the Ancestral Path Tarot deck, created by Julie Gucci Watts. It's a US Games publication, and it looks like the book and author, sorry, the book and deck was by two different people. And you know, it just gives you an introduction to the Ancestral Path Tarot. It tells you what the Ancestral Path Tarot is, what is tarot. Then it talks about Julia Cusa Watts, and it talks about Tracy Hoover. Then it goes through each of the cards in the major and minor arcana. So I don't think the new deck has a book with it, so that's that. I mean, it's got here, Tracy Hoover leads readers along the ancestral path to follow ancestral traditions, while also pathworking or shaping the way for others in future generations. The ancestral path ultimately leads to the point where all paths coverage the point of universal truth. Hoover also highlights the legends and traditions where the inspirations for Julia Cusa Watts' unique Ancestral Path Tarot deck, exploring ancestral paths from Japanese feudal society, the Egyptians, 19th century destiny of Rams II, Arthurian Britain, and post-contact Native American culture. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the cards. I'm sure that you've seen these cards because there's loads of flip throughs about this deck. But this deck is smaller than the newer one. And I'll just show you a few of the cards. So these are the backs. And you just got the Ace of Swords, the King of Swords. This is just like a card about the deck, and the High Priestess. Okay, and then my final tarot deck that I want to share with you is this one, the Waite Tarot deck. It's a US Games deck. I was kind of torn between this one and the Dirty Pam Tarot deck, which is the Pamela Coleman Smith, the Scarborough deck, the original one, but I chose this one. So it's got lovely white backs, and I think I like the colouring of this deck because I do like colour. It's just a Waite Smith cologne that is, and it just highlights the colour more, and you know the suits are colour coded, which I like, and it's just very, very kind of bright. Not everybody's cup of tea, but for me, I quite like the colouring behind it. Okay, so moving on to the next prompt, which is prompt 23, and it is, what is your top 5 oracle decks of 2010 to 2019? So the first one that I want to talk about is the Woman Awakens Oracle Deck and Guidebook by Taina Greenwald. So these are the cards, and they're basically melanated animal deck oracle cards, and you know it just gives the animal, and it's got like an archetype of color. So that's the snake, the whale, the hummingbird, and look at the backs of the cards, aren't they just gorgeous? The salmon, and then it comes with this gorgeous guidebook that kind of goes into detail about each card. So I just read a bit about understanding the deck. It says here, the sacred relationship between humans, animals, and the natural world have been used in medicine practices for centuries. Animal spirits are called upon in times of healing, in guidance, and meditation. I chose to create a central theme around divine feminine energy, tapping into each animal spirit and awakening that energy within ourselves. I have had many dreams of different animal guides and have stumbled across many beautiful animal spirits on a wooded path. Each encounter left me speechless, curious, and honoured to be blessed by their presences. This deck consists of 35 cards, each containing an animal spirit and a divine wild woman whose third eye is awakened, representing her connection to that spirit. The last 5 cards contain the 5 elements and symbols our connection to the natural world. Each card is a guide in one way or another, here to assist us on our path of higher self. May your journey of self-discovery be a beautiful one. And then let's see, you know, for each card there's a picture of the card, and it gives you a blurb about the card. It also gives you a reverse meaning of the card, and an awakened moose spirit. So it's quite a nice deck, but I must admit I tend to use this deck in conjunction with the guidebook. Okay, so the next deck is the Angels and Ancestors Oracle cards by Carl Gray, which there's been quite a lot of flip-throughs on this. So it comes with a gorgeous guidebook. Just read you a bit from the back of the guidebook. It says here, in whatever culture and religion they have appeared, angels have always had one mission: to love, help, and guide humans on the earthly plane. Ancestors are the wise ones, healers, and warriors who have offered their knowledge, experience, and magic to us. They know what you need to know. Use this guide to learn how to use the oracle cards to unlock the secrets and messages of the angels and ancestors who will help you to live a life touched by divine magical guidance. And just gives you a bit about the author Carl Gray and the artist who is Lily Moses. It's also got a couple of spreads in this book as well. Okay, so let's have a look at the cards. In the tuck box, it's got like a message. I set the intention that whatever is gained from the lessons learned from this tool will be dedicated to the growth of all beings in all places. Isn't that gorgeous? So these are the backs of the cards. They're really good quality, really nice matte. And then it's got here one card: Knight, be brave and honest. This kind of reminds me in a way of the Knight of Swords. Then you've got the Star Ancestor, follow the voice of your soul. Water Guardian, connect with your emotions. Traveler, move in a new direction. This also kind of reminds me of the Fool card in a way as well. So this is the Angels and Ancestors Oracle deck. Okay, so the next Oracle deck is this one. It's called the Divine Feather Messenger deck and book set by Alison De Nicola, and artwork is by David Schreiner. So it's got here, I'm at the back of the deck. This inspirational deck brings the angelic insights and healing energy associated with finding feathers to those who seek divine guidance from the mystical realm of birds. Double-sided cards present feather art on one side with a watercolour image of the bird and the affirmation message on the reverse. The guidebook also shares special stories about the 44 different birds and relates the natural symbolisms to colours, seasons, elements, and special energies. Set includes 44 double-sided cards and an 80-page guidebook. It's a US Games publication. So let's just show you a few cards. So this is the guidebook, and it just kind of outlines the meanings of the cards. It gives you a couple of spreads there, and it talks about the elements. Also talks about colours as well, and you know, the divination meaning of colours, and also the seasons here too. So it gives you in the book, you know, each of the birds, 44 birds that are highlighted in this deck, and for each bird it gives you a blurb about the bird and the message, and also gives you the energies, the season, the elements, the colour, and the affirmation as well for each card. So it's quite a very gorgeous kind of deck. I actually like the shape of these cards because they're kind of like a nice shape. So these are the back of the cards, and they've got like feathers, and each feather is different. Oops, sorry. And then, for example, this one here now is the dark, and the affirmation is: find comfort and balance in simple ways. You have supported all around you. Then you've got here the white turkey. This is the back of the card, so it's different from the first one. And it says here, the power to heal the earth is within you. I tend to use this deck with my Lorna Soul tarot deck. For some reason, they kind of pair up really, really nice. I'm just show you one more card, which is the White Swan. That's the back of the card, which is the feather of the swan. And it says here, the power of divine grace is within you. Okay, so another deck, Oracle deck, I've used a lot in 2010 to 2019 is this one. It's called the Effigy Oracle Cards. It's a 53 card deck and guidebook by Sandra Ann Taylor. It's a Hay House production. I love this deck. Comes with a kind of guidebook. Look how thick the guidebook is. That's quite thick, isn't it, for a little book? And it gives you an introduction. It talks about the cards, reading the energy of the oracle cards, card spreads and innovation, and then it just goes through each card and gives you the meanings of the cards. The spreads aren't actually pictorial in this book. They're just kind of written down. So you've got the 3 card spread, the 7 card spread, the 9 card spread, the road spread. So for each card, it gives you the upright meaning and the reverse meaning. And then it gives you like an affirmation as well in the book. So this deck to me kind of reminds me a bit of tarot as well. So these are the backs of the cards. They're gorgeous. So for example, the happy family, yeah, card 4. Doesn't that remind you of the 10 of Cups in the tarot deck? And then card 2, which is the journey, that reminds me of the 4. You know, she's on this kind of like staircase. She's not kind of looking. She could also fall off that sort of thing. There's several directions on where she could go. You can also read this deck intuitively as well. So the thinking man to me reminds me of the King of Swords. Victory could be the 7 of Wands. You know, the Sun card. Then you've got the Magician and the Mirror. The thinking woman could be the Queen of Swords, or even the High Priestess, to be quite honest. Because she's hidden away, she's got her book there for knowledge, you know. Butterfly there for transformation. And this one, action, to me reminds me of the Chariot. And one final card, anxiety. 9 of Swords. Okay. And the final oracle deck that I want to share with you is this one, Cat Gurus. So it just comes with this little pamphlet. The Cat Guru cards offer advice drawn from 3 key elements in the cat's lives. Choose a card to consult your guru and change your relationship, life and work. And it just gives you some information about each cat. So the cats were illustrated by Mr. Pebbles, aka Helen McGinley, a London-based illustrator specialising in cats and other animals. The advice was transcribed by Lisa Faber and Caroline Roberts based on hours of interviews with the girls. As a child, Liz wanted to be a cat. When she grew up, sadly, this didn't work out, but she still loves hanging out with cats and hopes they accept her as she is. Caroline lives with her rescue cats, Myla. They're currently both calorie counting as neither of them can fit through the cat flap. This is a 2018 publication. I'll just show you a few of the cards. So that's the back of the cards. Isn't that gorgeous? Then on each card, it gives you a cat. So for example, this is the BRF cat. And it gives you some affirmations or kind of keywords. So gratefulness is next to godliness. Start every day with a hiss and get over it with a claw. Frown and the whole world frowns with you. So just a nice little, humorous deck. And you've got the brusher. If you love someone, fight for them. Even the bravest feel fair. Hold your corner when others threaten to spray in your territory. So this is the Cat Guru's Tarot. Okay, so prompt 24 is your top 5 tarot books of 2010-2019. Okay, so the first book is this one. It's Signs and Wonders, Tarot Cards for Christians. As I said in one of my earlier prompts, I tend to use books for reference only. So I've flipped through this book since I've actually received it. And it's got here, Tarot Cards for Christians. God dies so that we can live, so that we can die, so that God can live. This is the breath of God, the truth of the universe, the passion of Christ, the story of the tarot. It's also the story of you. So I'll just read you a bit. So it kind of highlights each of the trump cards. And I'll just read a bit about the introduction. Yeah, I won't go into it too much because time is running out. So Tarot Cards for Christians. The very idea is scandalous. Should it even be written? Why would I even write about tarot cards then? Why would I direct such a document to Christians? Shouldn't Christians run as far away from the tarot as possible? Shouldn't they stay away from it? Just as they stay away from Ouija boards. Almost all Christians have. They have understandably linked the tarot with all other forms of occult practices. That's a bit. Let me just, it says, which tarot deck, God's holy name. It just relates the tarot cards really to Christians. So that's the first book. The second book is Tarot in the Modern World by Vicky Verley. It's just a plain written book. This is written in 2010. Just plain. So it's got here an introduction, doing a reading, rods, swords, cups, pentacles, court cards, and the major arcana. So introduction, it's got here, born into a psychic family. I was introduced to the tarot by my Russian grandmother over 30 years ago and thousands of readings later. I have developed my own meanings for the cards. Over the years, I have noticed certain patterns and configurations inevitably mean certain things. This book will show you how to get a deeper understanding of the tarot. We will go beyond memorizing the meanings of each card and set you on the path of making the reading your own. I do give interpretations for each card in the upright and reverse. They are my own personal interpretations that I have developed over the years. Some are quite conventional, others are quite different from the traditional meanings. Updated for the 21st century, I include some modern interpretations of these ancient cards. This book will show you how to tie the cards together into a cohesive reading by sharing my findings with you. I hope to open your eyes to a different way of looking at the tarot. Let us open the door to you. Discover your own meanings in these magical cards. Vicky Verley, it just gives you her YouTube address. Tells you how to lay the cards and etc. So it gives you a bit about what the rods mean. Then it gives you, for each card, a black and white picture. It gives you a kind of quote. So the seeds being planted and starting to grow, you're on the right path, so go with the flow. This is for the Ace of Wands, or Ace, it's got Ace of Wands, but then it's got Ace of Rods here, and this gives you a bit of a blurb. Aces are new beginnings. The Ace of Rod often refers to personal growth, etc, etc. Then it gives you the reverse meaning as well. So it does that for each of the cards. There's no spreads in this book, but it's still like a good modern interpretation of all of the cards. Okay, so the next book is this one, which is Holistic Tarot book by Pamela Coleman. It's quite difficult to put this book on the camera, but it's a good reference book. I mean, there's been lots of flip throughs about this book, but I like to have it as a reference book. And I just kind of go through it via the chapters. I won't go through all of it because obviously it's quite a thick book, but this is a book that I do tend to look through a lot for reference and just information, to be quite honest. Then there's this one, which is the Ultimate Guide to the Tarot, to the Rider Waite Tarot by Jones Furbrigg and Evelyn Berger. It's just a good all-round reference book. It's got here, discover everything you ever wanted to know about the world's most popular deck, the Ultimate Guide to the Rider Waite Tarot. Details the 10 most important symbols on each and every card in the deck, complete with hundreds of illustrations for easy use. In addition to an explanation of each symbols, each card is given a brief interpretation and topic. So you've got the primary meanings, the spiritual meanings, the daily meanings, the prognosis or tendency, love and relationship meanings, success and happiness. So it's just a very good reference book. It's got colour illustrations, for example, temperance. It tells you about all the symbols in the cards, gives you a basic meaning, the spiritual experience. As the card of the day, what it means as a prognosis tendency for love and relationships, for success and happiness. And it does that for each of the cards. And the final book is this one, which is not really a tarot book, but it's about the lovely Pamela Coleman Smith. And it's her Untold Story by Stuart R. Kaplan. So I haven't actually read all this book, but I've kind of been flipping through it. It's quite pictorial. It's quite an interesting kind of read. I do hope by the end of this year to have completed this book. Okay, so the last prompt of this video is prompt 25, and that is, if you could meet any tarot creator or author, who and when? Okay, and it would have to be the lovely Pamela Coleman Smith. Why? Because she created or devised the RWS system, Rider-Waite-Smith system, which is my preferred system. I do like some of the colognes, like the Pamela Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck, the Dirty Pam, etc. She's a woman of colour. I also have another book by Pamela Coleman Smith. It's like a finished book. I was trying to look for it for this video, but it was written in Jamaican patois. So obviously, Pamela Coleman Smith could switch her diction around when it suited her. And I was always told when I learnt tarot that the suits in the minor arcana represented ethnicity. I'm not quite sure what is what, because I've long ago threw away my notes, but I'm sure that the cups were blondes. I think that's, yeah, the cups were blondes. I think it was the pentacles were black people, basically. I'm sure that the swords were olive people and the wands were brunettes, but I can't be sure. But that's how I was told. But obviously tarot has changed a lot over the years, and that doesn't seem to apply. But so I always wondered that if she was around now, would she have included race in her suits? Because obviously then she probably wasn't allowed to. I also think as well that she was quite ahead of her times, because if I show some of her cards from my Rider-Waite-Smith deck, yeah, so this one here, the Three of Cups, this lady here is quite full figured, so she's kind of embracing body shape in her deck. Then you've got like the Two of Cups, and again, you know, is this male or female, or is this two male couples, like a homosexual couples? Because the female looking archetype to me looks like a man. If you look at the kind of facial features, dressed in women clothings, you know, the star card, you know, again, quite a full-figured woman, in my opinion. The devil card, the female's quite full-figured there. And then the Five of Pentacles, to me, represents kind of disability. So I think she was quite ahead of her time. Obviously, I'm never going to meet her because she died in 1951. But, you know, I would have loved to have met her if she was around in this century. And I would have loved to have known what kind of decks she would have made. Okay, so that's my prompts for today. I will add links, if I can, to the decks that I've showcased. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the 26th for prompt 26. Bye!